Hi, I'm Ed Sobey for Kids Invent. Today we're working with solar-powered cars. If you haven't done solar power before, if you haven't messed around with it, I'd suggest you spend just a few minutes messing around, especially hooked up to either a voltmeter or a motor. So right now I've got it connected to the voltmeter, and we've used these before. We're on the DCV, direct current voltage, 20 volts, and the switch is on. Red wire is positive, black wire is negative, so that's sitting right there. And I've connected it up to the solar cell. So although we're not outside in solar light, we get enough light here to generate almost 1.2 volts. And it's interesting to play around with this just to see what happens. Will you stay there? There. As a cloud moves overhead, or if you blank out all the light, down the voltage goes. So solar power still works on cloudy days, but if it's really dark at the end of the day, it doesn't work at all. What you also notice is that we're operating at a much lower voltage than we did when we made our cars before. We were using 9-volt batteries. Here we've got 1 volt, maybe 1.5 or 2 volts outside. We might have to use 2 solar cells to drive 1 car depending on the light conditions that day. One thing that's important when we're dealing with the sun is that we're pointing at the sun to get optimal energy transfer and not away from the sun or at some other angle. So basically what we're doing is taking the gear drive car that we had a few weeks ago. Here's the motor driving gear wheels with a direct gear. And now we're putting a solar panel on instead of the motor, and then making the connections to the motor. If one's not enough, then we'll have to get 2 and hook them in series. In series, we'll take this black wire and connect it to the red wire of another solar cell and use the 2 outside, the remaining wires, to drive the motor. It might work the other way just as well, where you connect the red and the red and the black together to drive the motor, but I'd start with a series first and make sure that you're comfortable with series and parallel, not necessarily the terminology, but how to connect them. Again, the series is one panel will be connected to the other, where a red of one is connected to the black of the other solar cell. So the positive of one is connected to the negative of the other, and the remaining positive and negative power the motor. So give that a try, get nice and comfortable with it, so when your students have some problem, you have the confidence to ensure that they will be successful when they run their solar cars. They won't go nearly as fast as the other cars driven by a battery, but on a nice sunny day, they will go right down the sidewalk or right down the whatever nice, smooth, flat surface you have to run the cars. Thanks very much.